So a quick word then on hammers. When you're doing work like this, any hammer will do, but based on the face of the hammer you'll be doing more or less planishing. That's basically what it comes down to. So as you tend to find with a lot of armourers hammers, these are just normal hammers that I've modified, but what you tend to find most armourers hammers is they're rounded ever so slightly on the, well, the face itself is ever so slightly domed normally, but on the edge, if I catch that on the light, you can see it's not sharp. It's not a sharp edge. I don't know if I've got any sharp edged hammers to show you. Oh, here we go. Show you the difference. Oh, I've even done that one. Hang on. No, I don't have any to hand. That should have taught me to be prepared first. But generally, when you buy second-hand hammers, if they're not chipped and mangled, they're straight on that corner. It's often 90 degrees or close to. And it's very sharp. What you end up with is it strikes into the metal. You end up with little crescents everywhere. So you tend to find most folk fetch those out. But I want to put a curve into this metal, and hitting it with a hammer like that, which was possible, isn't going to make the job as easy as it can do for me. But there's nothing wrong with using that hammer for what I'm going to show you. What I used to use before I had the hammer I'm going to show you last is I used to use this. Let's pull back there. So there we go. It's a stake, just the dishing stake. What you do is just turn it up that way and bring it down into the work in that sort of an action. And because it's lovely and smooth, it didn't tend to turn my work into a bag of crescent-shaped marbles. It would just round the work off. But I've been fortunate enough over the years, second-hand hunting and stuff, it's taken years, I found one of these beasts. And he's brilliant. They're both the same end. Don't know why, but they are. And I really like this hammer. It gives me just the right sort of weight to sort of force ratio when I'm working. I tend to throttle hammers, you'll see. Don't ever look at my videos to see how to hold a hammer. I tend to throttle them and hold them a bit too high up here. Every blacksmith I know has always told me off for that. You should be down here. It's probably because my hand isn't strong enough for the weight in a hammer, but I've convinced myself that I prefer the work. The only thing I try to avoid as much as possible is that with your thumb or that with your finger. You'll end up in tendonitis city in no time whatsoever. So this is the hammer we're going to use. This is the Bride of Frankenforge that I've shown you before. It's a bit like sort of the 1960s and 70s Batman exhaust that just chucks out heat. I'm not going to be able to talk very much when it's going because it's very loud. So a couple of little safety bits. Obviously protect your ears. Most importantly, get some goggles when you're doing this sort of work, because you should do anyway. You know, we're trying to live in a sensible world where we've all got the eyes and ears that we were born with, but also what can happen is you get hammer scale off of the work when it's heating up in the middle here, and what happens is you hit it on the bit of work and then it bounces back out of there and hits you in the face, which from experience is a horrible experience and not something I'm trying to repeat anytime soon. So I tend to put my glasses on whenever I'm doing any hot work like this. So I'll get this fired up and then we'll concentrate on where we're actually hitting it and what we're doing, and I will try and shout above the noise of this one. So I'll just turn that off for a second so I can show you where we're at with it. So you can see what I've done so far. I'll show you around these here. So, coming out of touch. There we go. So what I've done is I've dropped in a bit of that curvature into the plate. What I'm trying to do at the minute is put in the room for the belly of the mussel. Now, I want these ones to be reasonably sleek down the front. I don't want them coming out too far. If you see them in profile, I'm not talking. I want them to just have a gentle shape to them. Because the guy is so tall, if I go over exaggerating these, it's going to look peculiar. So I want to really try to sleeken down the movement for it. So I want to make sure that most of the belly is through the middle. I've spotted a flat spot just at the top there. Because it's mild steel, you can just lots of little hits rather than trying to wade in there. And that steak I was talking about before, this one, well, I used to use that. Just like that, you can get the idea. I would try and avoid hammers like that if you've got a choice. Just means you've got a bag of marbles at the end you've got to planish out. So, back to what we're doing. Don't worry too much if the end here is starting to go up like that. We can push that back down to another point. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit this bit, beat the hell out of it. It's that straightforward. We want that right down because when we bring this round, that'll, anything we got in there will kick out a little bit. And like I've said, we can always dress it back when we're done. So I'll get some heat back on the fire and then we'll do that and then we'll call this bit quits. So we are at the final stage of this one. I'm going to just sort of try and recap and see where we're at here. I've quenched it just so I can handle it and we can do some talking and push on. And you can see the weird shape, the peculiar shape we've got here. Things are going through my mind. This is a little at the top here. It's a little pulling back. It's a bit more like a football than I would want it to be, so that'll have to come out. But when we bend this, that will lift out and then I'll do that when I've got the final shape. But you can see it's not rocket science. You can see what's going to happen next. We're going to apply pressure and we're going to start to curve this round and it will create that shape. This will be pulled a bit flatter. Probably going to have to dress it down a little bit, but I prefer to do that and dress it back than have to try and smash it in when I'm going. But we'll see how we go. You can see how this shape here is already a little valley compared to the rest of it. And when I do my curving, when we're bringing the whole thing down, making it look more like a leg, what I will tend to do is I will work most of that, if I can, that curvature through this area, bring it down by dressing that round, not necessarily looking to push that in too much, but keeping that where it is and taking it down, and that will give us that nice gentle shape, and it will also help to sort of planish out some of these areas. And then we just flip it over, dress it in, and we're done. So reasonably straightforward, as you can see from there, and then we'll move on to the next bit in the next film.